Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wanted Fugitives, your Crime Stopper show. I'm your host, Sergeant Melony Peterson. We've got a great lineup tonight, a lot of extra new Wanted Fugitives, as well as the Deadbeat Parents segment. We've also got some information on upcoming events here at the Sheriff's Office. But before we go to break, just wanted to say thank you for all the tips that you've been providing. The following fugitives would not have been arrested without your help. Welcome back, everybody. Again, we've had a busy month of June. I will say that you know, now that we've got the upcoming holidays, please be mindful with school being out. We've got and had a lot of things happen within our communities. Keep your eyes and ears open, and that's where the Crime Stopper program comes in handy. For those of you out there that have never provided a tip to Crime Stoppers, I'm going to tell you the 3 easiest ways to do that. Crime Stoppers is a great program. It's 100% anonymous. You would never be asked your name, nor will you have to appear in court. And our rewards are, if the tip that you provide is good, go up to $3,000. And you know, even though Amber is out, we always reinforce the Crime Stopper program by pointing out that crime doesn't pay, but we do, and Crime Stoppers does just that. The 3 easy ways to call in a tip is, of course, our 24-hour-a-day call center at 433-STOP, or you can go directly to p3tips.com. It's also available on a mobile app for all iOS or Android devices. And if you just want to visit and learn more about the Crime Stopper program and read up on it and see some of our stats and hear some of our success stories, you can always go to GulfCoastCrimeStoppers.org. In the right-hand corner of that web page, of course, you can click on Submit a Tip, and it will walk you through the process. The 2 most important things that I tell everyone when providing tips to Crime Stoppers is you're going to be given a tip ID number. You're also going to be given a password. These 2 numbers are the only way that distinguish you from any other tipster. And that's the reason, is because, you know, we don't ask your name. You're anonymous. So you have to keep that tip number and your password. If you lose them, then you've lost that tip information, and also that tip could have led to an arrest. It could have helped and aided in a current or ongoing investigation, and then you would have missed out on that reward. So keep those 2 ID numbers, very, very important. All of our reward information are posted on the P3 Tips website. Once, if you've used the call center, you get your tip called in, it gets put into that website, and that's how we can monitor and find out if the tip is good, and it gets forwarded to investigations, and reward information gets put on there. So those 2 numbers are extremely important. And again, if you lose them, you know, it's just gone. You'll either have to provide another tip or hopefully come across those numbers. But with that being said, anybody that views this show today or any past shows, and you know the whereabouts of any of our wanted fugitives or deadbeat parents, please contact Crime Stoppers to get that tip ID number and that password. Give us their location, and if they're arrested based off your information, you could earn a reward of up to $3,000. We also don't want you making any contact with any fugitives that you see on today's show or any past shows. We don't want anybody putting themselves in danger. You just contact Crime Stoppers. We'll forward that tip over to the Sheriff's Office. And if you're not interested at all in a reward, then you can contact the Sheriff's Office directly to give us the location of a wanted fugitive at 436-9620, or you can contact PPD as well. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. with this week's Wanted Fugitives. Our first Wanted Fugitive of this segment. These Wanted Fugitives are wanted as of June the 21st of 2019. Anthony George Brown II. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, 19 years old. Anthony's wanted for burglary, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property. And Anthony has a bond of $50,500. So that is definitely some major charges and a pretty hefty bond. Our next wanted fugitive is Charles Bernard DeBose. Charles is 5'7". He's 145 pounds. He's 55 years old, and he's wanted for grand theft. And Charles's bond is $2,500. Our next wanted fugitive is Nicholas Allen Depew, I believe. He is 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. He's 36 years old. He's wanted for burglary and grand theft, and he has a bond of $20,000. And that's Nicholas Allen Depew. Next wanted fugitive is Jerry Lee Dunsford Jr. Jerry is 5'7". He's 145 pounds. He's 37 years old, and he is wanted for driving while license suspended. He is listed as a habitual offender. And Jerry also, and on that DWLS habitual offender charge, his bond is $6,500. But Jerry also has a failure to appear charge where he missed a court date, as well as a violation of probation. So this is like just the 3 strikes you're out here. You know, he was on probation for a previous charge, who knows when. Then he caught another charge that he didn't show up to court for, so that was a failure to appear warrant. And then he got stopped driving while license suspended. You know, so it's a rippling effect, but on a violation of probation, you won't get a bond. So even if he could bond out, he can't now until he goes and sees the judge. So if anybody out there knows where Jerry Lee Dunsford is, please call Crime Stoppers, and let's go ahead and help him get in front of that judge and get all that taken care of. Our next wanted fugitive is Darren Lee Feature. He is 6'2", 180 pounds. Darren is 53 years old, and he is wanted for fraud, possession of a weapon or ammunition by a convicted felon, dealing in stolen property, and grand theft. And, you know, Darren's got a bond of $50,000. And these are some pretty major charges, folks. You know, anytime that you have people that are wanted on burglary, grand theft, dealing in stolen property, I mean, this is serious criminal behavior, and this is not good for our community. It's not good for their neighbors. It's not good for anybody that they're taken from. To just take something that doesn't belong to you, that's just not good practice at all. So if anybody out there knows where Darren's at, with that amount of bond and those charges, you're going to get a really nice reward if you can provide us Darren's location so we can get him picked up. Our next wanted fugitive is Jeremiah Xavier Ferguson. He is 5'9". He's 135 pounds. He's 21 years old. And Jeremiah's failure to appear, he has no bond. You know, one of those things that we always encourage is, you know, if you do make a mistake, and mistakes do happen, bad choices happen every single day. But if they give you a court date, show up. It never looks good in front of the judge when you just ignore your court date for whatever reason without contacting the clerk of court and giving them a heads up that, hey, I can't make it, something happened. But you don't want to wait till the last day or just be a no-show, because that's an automatic 30 days in jail. Next wanted fugitive is Sherry Marie Fuller. She's 5'2", 140 pounds. Sherry's 51 years old, and she's wanted for vehicle theft. Sherry's bond is $2,000. So if anybody out there does know where Sherry is at, you know, give us her location. She's not going to know, even if you're a friend of Sherry's. She's not going to know, because you're not going to have to give your name. This is going to be your little secret. Your secret in Crime Stoppers, and you'll get a reward. And if you want to take that reward money and go bail her out, that's just being a good friend, I guess, you know, but it's up to you. Never hurts. Pick up the phone, 433-STOP. Our next wanted fugitive is Jacob Paul George. Jacob is 6'1", 175 pounds. He's 34 years old, and he's wanted for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, and he has a bond of $4,500. And our next wanted fugitive is Jessica Ryan Gunter. Jessica is 5'3", 110 pounds. She's 34 years old, and just like Jeremiah, failure to appear with a no bond. So, you know, at some point, I can kind of understand it with being 21, but 34, you kind of know better. So, you know, somebody out there knows where Jessica's at, give us a call at Crime Stoppers. Our next wanted fugitive is Yolanda Denise Harvey. Yolanda is 5'9", 180 pounds. She's 36 years old, and she's wanted for a weapons offense, and she has no bond. And that should be a concern for everyone, because, you know, a weapon offense is very broad in what it could mean or what the offense exactly took place. But anytime we have weapon offenses, possessions of weapons by convicted felons in our area, it is concerning. So we need to be mindful of that. Call Crime Stoppers. Give us Yolanda's a location. We'll get her picked up and get it taken care of and addressed, folks. Our next wanted fugitive, Christopher Leon Jernigan. He's 5'11", 160 pounds. He's 28 years old. He's wanted for failure to appear with a no bond. I mean, get a calendar. I don't know. Just saying. It's a bunch of failure to appears this time. And we're going to do one more wanted fugitive before we go on break, and that will be Alexander Patrick Maynard. He's 6'1", 160 pounds, 28 years old. Alexander is wanted for fraud, burglary, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property with a bond of $23,000. All horrible charges, all senseless victim crimes with multiple victims included, because there's a lot of people that really get victimized in crimes such as burglary and fraud and dealing in stolen property. We're going to quickly go to break, but before we do, we want everybody to visit, if you already haven't, Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers Facebook page. Invite us, like us, and invite your friends to like us, as well as the Escambia County Sheriff's Office Facebook page and Pensacola PPD. All three of those will keep you fully informed. A lot of good events and a lot of good information. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to finish up this week's list. We've got 3 more fugitives to cover before we go into our deadbeat segment. Golly, I can't talk this today. We do want to keep in mind that, again, we ask that you don't make contact with any of these wanted fugitives. You just call in the Crime Stoppers or the Sheriff's Office or PPD if you don't want a reward, and then just give us the location and we'll take care of the rest. We've got a lot of new officers out there. We got officers, period, that will take that burden away from you. You just concentrate on keeping your tip ID and password so that if we get picked up, pick up a wanted fugitive off your information, you'll get a reward. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and start. Reginald Liddell McCall. Reginald's 6 feet tall. He's 170 pounds. He is 40 years old. He's wanted for grand theft, possession of drugs, and possession of drug equipment. And Reginald's bond is $4,250. So if anybody out there knows where Reginald is at, please call Crime Stoppers and give us his location. Our next wanted fugitive is Adriana Francesca Sims. She's 5'4", 103 pounds, 40 years old, and she's wanted for grand theft with a bond of $9,500. And finally, Our last wanted fugitive of this segment is Marcus Jermaine Williams. He is 5'7", 160 pounds, 33 years old, and he is wanted for criminal mischief and burglary. And Marcus does not have a bond. So those, again, some pretty big charges, you know. Probably help Marcus out, you know, if you know where he's at. Again, you will not be identified by Crime Stoppers. We could use the help, and they will pay a reward if anybody is picked up off of a good tip. Whoever that tipster provided the information on, they would get a reward. So keep that in mind. So those are your wanted fugitives. We're going to go ahead into our deadbeat parents. Remember, our deadbeat parents are wanted like our wanted fugitives as of Friday the 21st. And we'll go ahead and start. Our first deadbeat parent is Fonta Johnson. Fonta is 38 years old, and he has a purge of $470. He also has a separate criminal warrant for a failure to appear for driving while license suspended. So he doesn't, unfortunately, have to go before the judge on that failure to appear, but he also has a civil commit purge as well of $470. A lot of people do not understand the difference between a civil commit and a criminal warrant. Technically, you would be detained and taken to jail if you have a civil commit, but it is not technically considered a criminal charge. But you still have to be detained and go before the judge to be seen on it. Our next wanted fugitive is Jerry LaDon Barlow. He is 23 years old, and he has a civil commit purge of $820. Our next deadbeat parent is Edward Buck. He is 32 years old, and he has a civil commit purge of $1,270. Here's the thing, folks. If you see, for whatever reason, if your financial situation or status changes, contact family court immediately, because if you don't, then whatever has been set for you to pay will continue to accrue, whether or not, the judges aren't psychics, so you definitely need to let them know if your financial status has changed, just so that in the event they know, it can be temporarily modified so that you're not just accruing this massive debt. It's not good for you, it's not good for the kids, because you gotta communicate with people, so keep that in mind. Our next deadbeat parent is Gregory Burris II. Gregory is 36 years old, and he has a civil commit purge of $420. Our next deadbeat parent is Kenneth Burrows. He is 42 years old. Kenneth has a civil commit purge of $870, and Kenneth also has a separate criminal warrant for violation of probation for possession of marijuana. So he doesn't get a bond on that violation of probation. But I will say this, that, it does bother me when people do have civil commit purges for, say, back child support, and they're out there catching criminal charges for possession of marijuana. That is a real, that's not cool at all. I'm just going to say that, and that of course that's my opinion, but it's just, that's not being responsible. Our next deadbeat parent is John Busy. He's 53 years old. He has two separate cases totaling $1,290. On the first case, John owes a civil commit purge of $320, and on the second case, John owes a civil commit purge of $970. So again, his total balance for those two civil commit purges are $1,290. And again, I'll say it more than once, let the courts know your situation. If your financial situation changes, you need to immediately report it to the courts so that things can get adjusted, and these type of back child support doesn't just continuously keep growing, because if it does and you don't say anything, it's still your responsibility. I would like to mention that all of our deadbeat civil commit purges. If you were to provide the location and they were to be arrested, just a civil commit purge deadbeat parent warrant reward starts at $150. If they have additional charges, or if they're found with things, or in the when officers make contact with them to detain them for that civil commit, they've committed a criminal offense, well then it's going to heighten that reward. But they all start at $150, so you can't beat that for a phone call. That's not a bad wage at all. Our next wanted fugitive is Jesse Carroll. He's 38 years old and he has a civil commit purge of $2,070. And our next wanted fugitive is Anthony Brian Cooper. Anthony's 35 years old. He has a civil commit purge of $2,490, and he has 3 pending criminal warrants. And again, these are the type of deadbeat parents that we definitely need to go ahead and have brought into court. He has a huge civil commit penalty, a purge, whatever you want to call it, $2,490. That ain't just a little bit of money. That's a lot of money. And an additional 3 separate criminal warrants. So somebody out there knows where Anthony's at. Give us a call. Give us his location. You're going to get a good reward, and he's going to face the judge. Next deadbeat parent is Tabars Crenshaw. He's 42 years old. He has a civil commit purge of $1,070. And again, come on, Tabars. School will be started up here pretty soon. Don't know how old your kids are, but regardless, they need that money. So somebody out there knows, somebody out there needs to call Crime Stoppers and give us his address. And our final deadbeat parent of this segment is Nicole Renee Jacobs. That's right, folks. We don't discriminate at Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers. If there is a female mom, sister, aunt, whoever's responsible for these children out there and they're lacking on their responsibility and they owe a civil commit purge, we're going to put them on this show too. And she has a purge of $770. That same reward criteria still applies as it would anybody else. So if you know where Nicole's at, call Crime Stoppers, give us her location, and once she's arrested, we're going to give you a cash reward. Simple as that. And remember, all these deadbeat parents and wanted fugitives are wanted as of June 21st, and there is your list. And just to kind of give you an update on upcoming events here at the Sheriff's Office, of course, we have our Citizens Law Enforcement Academy, as you can see on the screen, starting on July the 11th. Everyone, that's a very popular course. Definitely want to call and get registered as soon as possible. With that, Neighborhood Watch Academy starts July the 16th. Then we have Safety in the Place of Worship, July the 23rd. So it's going to be real hard in between 4th of July and all these activities and classes going on at the Sheriff's Office for y'all to say that y'all are bored. Because we've got too much going on, too much good information we're putting out there. And I'm going to encourage everybody to come visit these classes, enter these academies, and really learn. This is just going to make your community and your surroundings better, and you're going to be very informed. We've also got our upcoming event, National Night Out, which is always very popular, August the 6th, and that's going to be at Legion's Field off of G Street. Of course, you know, the Sheriff's Office is there, Pensacola Police Department, CDAC Behavioral is there, Target, the Mounted Posse's there, K9 and SWAT. A lot of good things there, a lot of good events coming up. Of course, you know, we give out school supplies and stuff at National Night Out. It's great, it's a lot of fun. There's food, entertainment, and there's no admission. We just want you to come out and participate with us, get to know us and all these great agencies and all of our partners there, and let us just fellowship, be with the community, and do a lot of good. So again, you know, that's all those list of things we just mentioned are upcoming, so you don't have no reason to be bored unless you just want to be. With that being said, before we go, I do want to thank all of our viewers out there. We do appreciate you. Keep giving us those tips, and we'll keep out there, we'll keep at it, serving these warrants and getting these people brought in to go before the judge. Be sure, like all of our Facebook pages I mentioned before that first break, and you guys all have a safe weekend. Be mindful, kids are out of school, so be paying attention. Got a lot of kids out there riding bicycles, walking around. Go slow in your neighborhoods. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great weekend.